Good day, Minecraftians. Purple Mentat here, bringing you episode 18 of my Regrowth Let's Play. As you can see, I made myself some more agricarnations to really kick my farms into high gear. And, ooh, the emeralds are almost done. Let's check this last one and see if it came out good. Emerald seed, come on, come on, come on, B101010. I would love to tear that thing down. Yes. Excellent. So yeah, we have fully upgraded our emeralds at this point, and I'm going to let it spread the last few and not worry about it, but pretty happy with that. We're probably also done with the diamonds. I tore those up halfway through and moved them closer to the agricarnation so that they would grow faster. And I have more wheat seeds being generated over here because I need more for all of the plants that I am making in Witchery. It requires a wheat seed for basically everything I want to do, so yeah. Well, I mean, I could use other seeds, but the wheat is just easiest, you know? Oh, you know what? I shouldn't have gone up this all the way up the edge. That's okay. So what are we going to work on today? Well, today I want to get into some cool new stuff. And that means we're going to be progressing the Botania tech tree. Well, I call it a tech tree. It's kind of like a tech tree. We're going to be doing more Botania. And, oh, I need to identify these seeds or they won't stack. You know what? We'll just use up the seeds that do stack. I know what all of these are. I know they're all 10, 10, 10. There's no reason to keep re-identifying them. So yeah, there's another 27 seeds that we can use to make various flora. Very first thing that I want to do with Botania before we go any further is we're going to be using a gray mana petal, a light gray mana petal, a light gray mystic petal, and a gray mystic petal, along with a rune of air in our petal apothecary. This is what inspired me to do a bunch more seeds to make, oh, you know what else we're missing? A redstone root. It's a very important portion of the recipe. To make the hopper hawk. Because I'm sick of picking up eggs and feathers when I walk by here. So here's what this guy is going to do for us. Once I grab my dolly from my inventory, we're going to move the feather and egg drawer in here, and we're going to set the hopper hawk down next to it. And it's, as you can see, it moved very quickly. It's going to automatically grab any feathers and eggs. Anything that can fit into this inventory, it's going to be grabbed up by the hopper hawk and put in there. See? Neat, huh? I'm pretty happy about it. Aw, we used to be able to control Shift Q from the hotbar. Guess not anymore. Alright. One other thing I've done is I've slowed down the coke ovens now that they are at full creosote oil. I also partially automated them. I have an item hopper feeding charcoal blocks in, and an item hopper on each pulling charcoal blocks out. Or coal coke blocks out, and coal blocks in. So, we finished this quest now. We're going to uncraft these into coal coke. I'm worried that a coal coke block will burn for so long on one of these endo flames that the next coal coke will despawn before it gets used. So I need to look into like the exact timing on everything. But for now, we're just going to use the coal coke because one of these is like 2 coal. So awesome. More power. All right. We have a quest to hand in what the world teaches, or no, what the world enables for that, not that kind of coke. And we get another 32 coal coke and 16 creosote bottles of creosote oil. They're called creosote bottles for some strange reason. Get the coal coke back in there. And now we're going to start working on the pylons in the way the world works. Construct additional pylons. Feel it is time to try your hand at enchanting your equipment. Most people augment the capabilities of an enchanting table with bookcases, but why would you use 15 of those when 2 mana pylons can achieve the same feat? We're going to need an enchantment table and 2 mana pylons to complete this quest. Now, mana pylons are one of the natural apparatus. Mana pylon is a structure that can pull energies from the earth and use them to power enchanting processes. For one, setting one adjacent one adjusted to an enchanting table. That's probably meant to be adjacent, as if it, one adjusted to an enchanting table as if it was a bookshelf, meaning it needs to be 2 blocks away. Will drastically increase the power it can convey. Just 2 of these are enough for it to reach level 30. So we need gold ingots, mana steel ingots, and mana diamonds to get our mana pylons built. Let's go ahead and get that done. I've got a couple of diamonds here and can easily make more as... You know what? How many of those did I need exactly? I need gold. That's what I'm missing. I'm going to have to convert more of my essence into solid form at some point, but that point is not now. Alright, get some mana diamonds and craft our pylons. 2 of those. That was simple enough. Next step is going to be the enchantment table, which is going to require 4 obsidian, a book, and 2 diamonds. I do have books in here, don't I? No, I have them in here. No, I'm just blind. There it is. So, our enchanting table, like so. Yay for vanilla enchantment. That's it. We get this enchanted book. I don't know how to tell which is which here. So we're gonna get kind of a random reward enchantment. We'll grab that one. We came out with Fortune 3 and Protection 4. I can work with that. I'm actually pretty happy about that. And we're gonna set up our enchantment table over here near our Botania stuff for the time being, because eventually we're going to be upgrading our enchantment capabilities using mana. It needs to be like that and like that. Now I can toss an item in there, and I could enchant up to level 30 if I had the experience. Unfortunately, I do not. So let's fix that. If you remember, back in What the World is Made Of, we have experience seeds quest. So we want to make some experience seeds. Those are going to require 2 bottles of enchanting, 2 rune of mana. Ooh, do I even have rune of mana? I do. Awesome. 1 strong essence, 3 regular essence, and an essence seed. So where's our essence seed? Right there. Don't have any of the essences with me, but that's okay. We'll go get those in a moment. And the bottles of enchanting are the seemingly difficult part, because if you look at NEI, the recipe... Oh, hey look, the recipe's actually working this time. For the longest time, because of the recipe desyncs, it would only show cow and slime essences, and those are relatively difficult to get. But you can just as easily use skeleton essence, which you've been using from the beginning if you've been following along. So there we go, bottles of enchanting, that easy. And we only need 4 of them, actually. Okay, so that was 3 regular and 1 strong. I don't have any regular essence made. So we will take an extra strong essence and turn it into regular. I'm gonna put all of you there, grab 1, and put you there, grab 3. Excellent. Let's go get this seed made, and actually I'm gonna finish making the seed and planting it and such off camera, because you guys have seen me do this as often as you have. So I'll be back in a moment once I have some experience essence and can show you how this helps us. I do kind of love how fast this thing can produce various seeds for me. I already have 32 of the essence, and it's been maybe 20 minutes total that I've been dealing with other things waiting for this to grow. So the reason I wanted the essence of experience is because they can be turned into experience drops, and this means that I have easy access to 40 experience at a time bursts. 40 experience being enough to level you almost all the way to 30 for 30 drops. There we go. So now I can very easily dump a big random enchant. Ooh, an XP boost. Gain XP from killing mobs. Well, that's not very helpful, is it? But I can very easily, using the experience I'm going to be farming with my experience essence, create for myself a whole bunch of enchanted gear, which is pretty nice. Get some random enchants on those. Ooh, protection 4, unbreaking 3, thorns 2. Yeah, I'm happy about that. Now, what are we going to end up doing with these enchanted books? Well, that's going to come later. Let's get these stowed away. Why do I have an agricultural journal in my inventory? It's probably been there for a while, too. I moved this a couple episodes ago. Whoops. Oh, one last thing. The mana pools, you can color them. Just toss in some floral powder of your choice, and they will turn the color of the powder. I, of course, will be using purple. There we go. Now, the very next step in the Botania quests, you actually have two options. I am going to focus on the runes. I want to get the Carved in the Mind quest done for the 7 Deadly Sins runes, because they let me get a couple of items that are going to make my life a lot easier. So once again, this is going to be spending a bunch of time with NEI and dumping various materials into the runic altar. So let's check through and make sure that we actually have access to all of the materials. Oh, yep, looks like all of them require one of the seasonal runes, one of the elemental runes, and 2 mana diamonds. Well, we have easy mass production of mana diamonds now. In fact, I brought a stack of 24 diamonds over with me just to transmute all of them into mana diamonds real fast. And as you can tell, that drained enough mana from the mana pool that it's got things working again. We're definitely going to have to create better mana generation over time, but it's on the list. So I'm going to spend some quality time, me and my runes, to get myself all of the various rune of 7 Deadly Sin, runes of the mind, however you want to call them. In any case, I'll be back once I have these completed. See you soon. Alrighty, here are the last 2 runes that I needed to make in the list, the Rune of Pride and the Rune of Envy. And if I check my quest book, that is now at 100%. I get 4 mana tablets, fully charged, 6 strong essence, and a stack of floral fertilizer. Not that I can afford all of that in my inventory, because I immediately want to make use of one of these runes to provide me with a new mana generating flower. A pretty cool one in my opinion. So this is going to require the Rune of Wrath and the Rune of Fire in the Petal Apothecary. I'm going to need another seed. And I'm going to need some water in there. Alright, no problem. So, 1 Rune of Wrath, 1 Mystic White Petal, 1 Mystic Gray Petal, 1 Mystic Red Petal, 1 Red Mana Petal, 1 Gray Mana Petal, 1 White Mana Petal, and the Rune of Fire, plus a seed, gets us the Entropinnyum. Magical girls are an option. That amuses me more than it should. So, this is a really interesting flower. Which forces you to work in ways that you would not expect. If I set this down, and I make sure that it is bound to a mana spreader, as it currently is, I'm now going to feed it some TNT. But to do so, I have to light the TNT. I have to try to blow things up. Now, hopefully I have all of this set up right, and I don't regret everything about this. As you can see, no damage was done, and the Entropinnyum is now full of mana, which is getting drained off by the mana spreader. Now, you want to be careful attempting to automate this thing, because if another explosion goes off while the Entropinnyum has any mana in it whatsoever, then you're going to have a bad time. It is not going to be able to absorb the explosion, and you're going to end up with a boom. So yeah, you want to wait for this thing to run all the way out of mana. Now I wonder, honestly, I really do wonder if I could use a comparator to check if the Entropinnyum has any mana in it. I will test that. You know what? I'll test that right now, because we can just grab these. Or the comparator could end up on the runic altar. That's possible. So let's set you up, and we'll move the lever to here so it doesn't interfere, and we'll just wait for this. Alright, it's fully out of mana now. Let's give it another TNT worth. Doesn't even hurt. And no, the comparator does not work. So you have to very carefully manage the timing if you want to attempt to automate this and place down TNT that way. But it does generate an absolute mass of mana. You can see how long it's taking our mana spreader to suck all of the mana out of this Entropinnyum and get it into the mana pools. As such, it's great for large production when it's like, oh, I want to do this really big thing. My mana pools are close to empty. I'm going to spend a few TNT charging up a bunch of mana really fast. Now, that should empty out our inventory enough for us to collect the 4 mana tablets, 64 floral fertilizer, and 6 strong essence. And this is going to be very important for us because I needed a lot of mana, and this is going to slingshot me forward a little bit, where otherwise I would have had to wait to recharge my mana tablets a bunch of times, or generate mana in some other way. So, what's next on the agenda for Botania? Well, we are finally at the point where it is time to check out another side of another story. Research suggests that a race known as the Elves had fled this place for their homeland, Alfheim. If you can open a portal, you may be able to establish contact and get a better idea of what happened here. Construct the portal to Alfheim as described in the Lexica Botania, then activate it by waving your wand of the forest at the gateway core. So we're going to need some nature pylons, some elven gateway core, and some glimmering living wood. The glimmering living wood is the easy bit. We just need to combine some living wood with some glowstone dust. We'll need 3 of those. And, you know, I'm just going to bring a bunch of living wood with me because I know that I'm going to need it. We're going to need to use up most of our terra steel here. I'm going to need more mana diamond. I think just the 1 diamond. 2 mana steel ingots and 4. Yeah. 4 mana steel ingots, 4 gold ingots. Let's go get this going. Ooh, we're out of gold ingots. That's okay. We can generate more quickly. Actually, I've already gone ahead and generated more while I was dealing with other things. I forgot I had this auto smeltery set up and I've been using it to convert essence into blocks slowly but surely. So let's grab... There we go. And we are, to make these pylons, first going to create mana pylons, 2 of them, and then we can use those mana pylons to make 2 nature pylons using a terra steel ingot in a shapeless recipe. It doesn't matter where all of it goes. In fact, there's nothing stopping you from doing this in your own crafting grid, right like so. There, nature pylons complete. Next step, we need to make the gateway core. This is a very simple crafting recipe, but it does require terra steel, so it's simple but expensive. Do not accidentally make 2, you will be sad. And with our 3 glowstone, then we can make our glimmering living wood blocks. Fantastic. As it says in the quest book, that's only the first step. Next step, we need to get the Lexica Botania upgraded by throwing it into the portal to have information on elven magics added to it. Now, what the quest book does not tell you, but the Lexica Botania does, if you go to the Elfomancy area and read on the portal to Alfheim, is how to construct it. You're going to need 2 mana pools, as well as 8 more living wood to make this happen. So I'm actually going to reduce my supply of living wood on hand down to the 8 required. And we're going to keep the 10 living rock that we need, just to try to keep our inventory under control. Novel concept for me, I'm sure. Too much... Where's all the wheat coming from? I keep finding more of it. Alright, so we're going to get these converted into proper mana pools. And I'm actually going to grab my Entropinnyum, take it with me. Let's double check to make sure that it's actually emptied out. Yes, it has. Good. We're going to use this over here, most likely. I'm not 100% certain on how I want to power the portal yet. These pure daisies gotta go, because I kind of want the portal to be right here near my general mana generating setup, but not, like, on top of it. Yeah, that'll be good. I want the back of the portal butting up against the wall there. So to construct the portal, we need to build it in the world like so. We need a frame of living wood. And let's see, that is 1 space in between them. And I will get it right up against the wall here. Just like so. And that will actually make it a little bit easier to build the living wood frame anyway. I will need one throwaway block. TNT makes a great throwaway block as long as you're careful with it because... or a great scaffolding block because it breaks in one smack. Just don't accidentally get it near redstone or you're going to have a bad time. Elven Gateway Core goes in the bottom middle, as the Lexica Botania tells us, and the Glimmering Living Wood goes into the middle of the other 3 sides. Next step, we need to build, we need to add mana pools. 1, 2, 3 forward and 1, 2, 3 out from the Elven Gateway Core. Part of me wants to use this Living Rock and Lapis Lazuli checkerboard. What do you think? Do you think I should come back and replace these blocks with that particular look? Let me know in the comments below. Right there. And right there. And this is what we're going to be using the mana tablets for. We're going to toss 2 full-ish mana tablets into each of our mana pools so that they can get filled up and ready. And then the final step of creating the portal is to place nature pylons above the pools. Now, once we open the portal with our Wand of the Forest, it's going to take quite a bit of mana out of the pools. And it is going to... oh, wow. This is going fast. I like how fast these guys work. Excellent. And then, once it's open, it takes a ton of mana to open, and then a not insignificant amount to keep open. But you really want to make sure that you do keep it open once it is. So, to support that, I can't really use sparks, can I? Because these nature pylons... well, you know what? Let's find out if there's anything over there that I can throw a spark on. The nature pylons are taking up the space that would... oh, look at that. We can throw a spark on top of the mana pool, despite the nature pylon being there. That will be very useful. Good. I don't know if that's going to help power the portal. In fact, I expect that it won't. But we'll certainly be able to do some useful things with these sparks. It's hard to right-click those sparks because of the pylons being in the way. But yes, that one is connected to all of them. As you can see, this one is too far away from this spark to connect. If we wanted to have the entire thing made a network, we would need another mana pool in the way. All right. So, enough lollygagging. Let's whack this. Achievement get world calling. Really cool graphical effect, and a whole bunch of mana gets used up. Fantastic. I like it. I like it a lot. Now, we are going to throw our Lexica Botania in because this portal is not powerful enough for creatures to cross through. It seems items can. So, as it tells you, the amount of information about Alfheim stored in this lexicon is resumed to this entry alone. Perhaps letting the elves have a look at it might prove beneficial. All right. Throw in Lexica Botania. Out comes Lexica Botania, 2 schools of knowledge, Minecraftian and Elven knowledge. And that fulfills our quest, giving us 4 mana diamonds, 4 mana pearls, and 16 mana steel ingots. Which is kind of nice. It's kind of cool to have a bunch of easy materials thrown my way. You know what? We're going to use these to make terra steel. Maybe. Oh, does it really want me to do it one at a time? That's somewhat annoying. Yes, it does. Oh well, I can live with that. As you can see, we are burning mana at a ridiculous rate. These guys are also burning a fair bit of mana, keeping the portal open. But it's a better idea to keep the portal open than to let it close. So, let's take a look. Ooh, Elvingard. Heh. A message from Elvingard. Greetings. We noticed that our portal was open via a link from another world. That's rather shocking news indeed. We thank you very much for providing us with a repository of the knowledge from your world. As to keep us up to date to what happened since we left it, it's been a while since then. It's good to see it's going well. After some discussion with the High Council of Elvengard, we have decided to cooperate with you. You see, reading through your Lexica Botania has shown us a good amount of resources from your world that we would be extremely keen as to get our hands on, as these are non-existent in our lands. The link you have managed to establish is rather weak. No living beings will be able to go through, as you already know. However, there's a positive side to this. The link strikes the fabric of time of both our worlds in a way where it doesn't keep them in sync. That's the reason why you received your book back so quickly. When it comes to mana and other magical energies, we are plenty stocked on them, so worry not about the portal closing on our end. Let's put this in prospect. In order for the advance of both our civilizations, we vow to accept a gift set of resources from your world we lack in ours in exchange for resources you lack in yours. We have taken the liberty of assigning our best scribes to put together a great set of knowledge from our world we're willing to share. You can find it in your lexicon just as you'd find knowledge from yours. We hope you find it enlightening and that it encourages you to invest in our materials. Last but not least, do keep in mind that if you decide to send something we have not vouched to trade for, we will assume it as a gift and keep it for ourselves, just as a forewarning. We look forward to exchanging resources with you. Best regards, the High Council of Elvengard. And now we have more unlocked on Elfamancy. The resources of Alfheim, Elven lore, the Shattering, the Ritual of Gaia, and the Ritual of Gaia 2. Good stuff. But what I'm most interested in is if I go to mana manipulation and check out the information on spark augmentation. There it is. As it seems, sparks are a bit more versatile than it was known previously. A variety of augments can be applied to them to enhance their abilities. It's to note that augments can only be applied to sparks that lie on mana pools. A spark can only have a single augment at any time. Starting off, the dispersive augment has the spark use up the mana in the pool below to charge any nearby player's mana-containing items. The dominant augment will have the spark pull any mana from nearby non-augmented spark pools into its own until it's completely full. The recessive augment will have the spark output all of the mana in its pool to any nearby non-augmented or dispersive spark pools until it's completely empty. Neat. So let's build some augments. The isolated augment will prevent the spark from interacting with any dominant or recessive sparks, but still allow it to interact with blocks that can receive their mana through the spark network. So we need to use pixie dust, mana steel, and one of the various runes. To get pixie dust, though, this is part of the resources of Alfheim. We need to toss our mana pearl into the portal to get the pixie dust. And if I take a look at the pixie dust, it is now unlocked in NEI, and I can see that I can get the mana pearl or the pixie dust from Elven Trade with the mana pearl. I am going to get myself a small collection of pixie dust, I believe, so let's send 10 of the mana pearls through, just to get started. Toss those in, and out comes pixie dust, a bit at a time. I like it. I like it a lot. If you want, you could set up a hopper hawk right here next to a chest to collect the items as they come out. It would probably be a better prospect than trying to manually grab it all. So what are we going to do with that? Well, we're going to be making ourselves the... here we go. I believe that the recessive augments will be to our favor. So the Rune of Earth, the Pixie Dust, and the Mana Steel Ingot. Unfortunately, this particular spark is not connected. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to make one more mana pool as an in-between. Or change the layout in some other way, but this is what I'm doing for right now. Get this made. So as you can see, this guy will connect with that one, but not the others. So what we're going to do, we're going to get this mana pool down right here, and put a spark on it, and see, yep, that connects with this spark. Excellent. That's what I wanted to see. We're going to make now 3 different augments. And we're going to use the 2 dominant and 1 recessive. The dominants require fire, and the recessives require earth. So that's 1 earth, 2 fire, and some mana steel, which I have plenty of on hand. Like so, 1 recessive, to dominant. And if I put the recessive augment into this spark, you can see that it starts sending mana away to fill up the various pools. Then I'm going to put the dominant augment into this spark, and it's going to draw mana from the nearby unaugmented spark pools. That'll actually work out just fine the way it is. I don't actually need the other one. So now we are automatically transferring mana from this pool into this pool, and this pool is drawing mana from this pool and this pool. That should do a decent job of keeping all of the pools full at all times, as long as this one is getting a significant source of mana. Now, we have noticed that our mana spreader is not able to keep up with what we are trying to do to it, especially when we want to use the Entropinnyum. As such, let's take a look in Elven Magics. In Mana Manipulation, we have Elven Mana Spreaders. Simply put, Dreamwood conducts mana better than Living Wood. Add in some adjustments like Elementium or Mana Petals, and what you get is a mana spreader that can conduct more mana faster and for more time without mana loss. On the negative side, it can't be turned into a redstone spreader. So I need to get this Dreamwood, and I need to get this Elementium. These are more of the Alfheim trades. Living Wood becomes Dreamwood, and blocks of Mana Steel, 2 Mana Steel ingots becomes 1 Elementium ingot, and you can do the same with Mana Steel blocks. So I'm going to make myself a couple of blocks of Mana Steel, and we're going to put those through the... Wow, didn't expect that. Hang on. Let's just combine it this way. Cooperate. Very uncooperative crafting today. Grab those off, and we will start sending our blocks of Mana Steel through. Bam. 8 blocks of Mana Steel becomes 8 blocks of, or 4 blocks of Elementium. Fantastic. And then we need to send through a bunch of Living Wood as well. Now, there's a couple of other ways to do this. There's definitely a way to automate this, and I will work on automated Elven trade some other time. Oh. Yep, I don't have the patience for this. I'm not going to stand there and manually collect that much Dreamwood. I'm going to borrow the Hopper Hawk from here. I'll make another one later on, but for the time being, it can live with a chest. Let me just put those away to make room for a chest in my inventory. It can live with a chest right in front of the portal. Put the chest here and the Hopper Hawk here. And it should gather up everything that falls nearby, including apparently my assembly halo, which I must have accidentally dropped at some point. Ah, the Hopper Hawk doesn't seem to like to work going up one level. Oh yeah, it does. It just takes time. Okay, fantastic. So, let's make ourselves an Elven Mana Spreader. Oh, it's going to require a Mana Petal, isn't it? Hang on. I need any color of Mana Petal, so I'm just going to check into my petal chest and grab orange, because it looks to be the one that has the most. And I'm actually going to want to make 3 of these because I have 3 mana spreaders to replace. Let's check our Wand of the Forest. Oh wow, the mana pool's actually relatively full. Since this is the mana pool that everything's measured by, and this one's connected to the others, you can see the augment floating around there. If I shift right-click that, it comes back out. Let's put the recessive augment on the one that shuts the whole thing off. And let's toss a spark on top of this mana pool as well, just to make sure that all of the mana is going to be put into the proper places. And in fact, since this spark is now distributing mana to all of the other mana pools, I could very simply grab up this mana distributor and let the mana flow straight into the mana pool as opposed to worrying about having it distributed. This should allow it to be evenly distributed between all of the various places that it could land. And hopefully, yeah, it seems to be keeping up just fine. That's nice. That spark. I don't like that I can't right-click this particular spark easily. I'm not happy about that. Anyway, moving on. Elven Mana Spreader. Now that we have the option, using an orange mana petal. I need to turn my ingots in my blocks of elementium into elementium ingots. By the way, elementium, I believe, can be made into armor. This is just the same as the mana steel. It gives you the Great Fairy's Blessing. Now, the other cool thing about elementium, if we take a look at the, I believe it's going to end up being in the, it's going to be in mystical items. Elementium equipment. Similar to other metals, as expected, elementium can too be shaped into tools and armor. The pieces of equipment have a decent resistance to damage, about half of that of diamond, as well as the ability to prevent mana, to drain mana to prevent damage. Each of the tools comes with their own ability or power of sorts, which makes them unique. The armor allows the wearer to, when hit, have a chance to spawn a pixie that goes after the attacker. The more pieces of armor equipped, the higher the chance. The elementium pickaxe will destroy any cobblestone, dirt, netherrack, and other mundane materials, leaving behind only the ores and fine resources. Combining it with a terror shatterer will allow for the latter to also get this power. This can't be undone. That's kind of neat. Uses dreamwood twigs. I bet you can imagine how that works. So yeah, there's some cool abilities that we, cool new tools that we'll be able to make now that we have the elementium available to us. We'll definitely be working on that sometime very soon. So let's grab this Elven Mana Spreader. And if you take a look at the Elven Mana Spreader, you can see that with a Gaia Spirit and a Dragonstone, we can upgrade it further into a Gaia Mana Spreader. You know what? We should really check our recipe list to make sure that we're not, our quest list to make sure we're not getting too far ahead. Ooh, a study in pink. While the elves were unable to enlighten you to what happened or why they departed, they did agree to trade with you and taught you how to use the materials they trade you to make a number of advanced botanical objects. Trading mana steel to them will result in the return of a metal with a pink hue, which they call elementium. They also use a paler wood known as dreamwood for applications similar to living wood. They requested an exchange for it. For living rock, however, they give you a dark hardstone, which doesn't seem to have much of a use in any magical field. Skystone. Neat, huh? And then we are going to get 32 elf glass for our efforts. So let's toss through some 16 of the living rock to make sure that we can finish up this quest. And while that's going, we can replace the mana spreader with the new one. Let's see, there's our Elven Mana Spreader with our Rainbow Potent Velocity lens. And we're going to get this on bind mode, right-click U, and right-click U. There we go. Now, if I take a look at this, it is starting to gather mana. It is not shooting off all that frequently because there's just not a lot of mana. It's going to charge up a bit before it does. Let's see how it does with that Entropinnyum, shall we? Entropinnyum fills up and gets drained off quite a bit faster. And this isn't even the Mana Spreader's final form. I'm pretty happy with that. This is going to make generating lots of mana on demand much, much easier. As long as we keep paying attention to this mana pool. These Endoflames producing? I mean, they're giving off sparks, but they don't seem to be... Oh, they tried to rebind to the closer Mana Spreaders. Hang on. Let me rebind these where they need to be. Bind mode, you, there, you, there, you, there. Yep, we're going to need to rebind our flowers to the proper place. That's all. Not a problem. Luckily, this Elven Mana Spreader will easily be able to keep up with the system that we currently have. The Dayblooms are alright. Oh, no, even they got bound to the wrong spot. So you know what we're going to do? We're just going to harvest these Mana Spreaders. We're going to pick them up. And once I do that, everything will rebind to the Elven Mana Spreader. Everything that's in range of it. Even if I put down one of these Mana Spreaders, it shouldn't cause any trouble anymore. Set you down and... Hang on. This Endoflame, yep, they stayed bound to the proper place. Fantastic. Put down the other Mana Spreader. And we're going to bind you to you to you, and reapply the lenses. Awesome. That's taken care of. Let's go finish our quest. Dreamwood, Skystone. Excellent. Now that we've held enough of each, we should be able to finish up the study in... Oh, hang on. There we are. And we received 32 elf glass. Skystone is going to be our first step in applied Energistics 2. It's very, very important for the mod. And this, having the Elven tech unlocked, will allow us to build an applied Energistics system if we so choose, which we very well might. And I just took a look at the time. I have once again gone way over because that's just what I do in this game, it seems. So, thank you very much for joining me, folks. Hope you have enjoyed this rather explosive episode of Mana Production. If you have, leave a thumbs up, tell me what you liked, and I will try to continue doing it. If you have not, leave a thumbs down, tell me what I can do better, and I will attempt to improve. Either way, you will have interacted, ensuring I show up in your subscriber feed. See you next time, folks.